How do you have food year round? Food that's readily available in your backyard, easy to grow, simple to grow. How do you do it? Well, I don't mean literally food year round, but a big portion of the year you can have vegetables right in your backyard. A small backyard garden, I always say they're 10 by 10, 30 by 30, so simple, so easy to manage. But the question is, how do you go about doing that? And depending on where you live, you would probably be shocked at how much food throughout the year you can grow. In the South, Southeast, here in Central Texas, we literally were harvesting for our customers all the way into January this past year. We had turnips, we had radishes, we had different types of salad or lettuce mixes all the way into November. And again, we were delivering some of those products all the way into January. And there is a secret in the way that you can be able to do that. And it's pretty simple. The first time heard the term, I had no idea what that term was. By the way, before I get into that, I'm Jeff with Whirlwind Family Farm. We're here in Central Texas. Thanks so much for finding our channel. We hope you'll subscribe because each week we'll have videos that'll take you further along in the process. So thanks for finding us. So what is the secret? Again, in a small backyard, this is easy to do, and it's called succession. Just like something comes along in a row, it's in a succession. It's called succession planting. The first time I heard the term, I had no idea what that was. And it's not complicated at all. And really what succession planting is just knowing the season of that particular crop. We always have what I call the earlier spring crops that we plant, like our carrots, like our radishes, like turnips, different types of lettuces, Swiss chard, things that like the cooler weather. As we get towards summer, then the things of the summer that tend to do better, like cucumbers, like tomatoes. We have our squash plants, which are right back over here, the zucchinis, which is in the same family, of course. And they tend to flourish right there in the heat of the summer. And then when we get to the heat of the summer, that's when we turn our attention to start thinking about, okay, what are we going to grow this fall? But it's even a little bit more, if I could use the term, it's a little bit more micro than that. If you literally want to have that continual supply of food in your backyard, small backyard garden, which is so easy to do because you don't have long rows. And like out here, we literally have to use a earthway seeder because these beds are 50-foot long, 30 inches wide, and it's something I just can't do with my finger. In your backyard, where you have rows that may be 10, 15-foot long, you could just take your finger, make the little trench, drop your seeds in. Don't even have to have a seeder, so it's really simple. But succession planting, whether you're planting direct, dropping seeds in the ground, or you're using a seed tray and allowing those plants to mature and then plant them in the ground, is succession planting. And I'm going to use one particular crop that is a great illustration, and that's radishes, because radishes are one and done. It is a root plant. Once you pull it, it's ready to eat, and it's done. So here at Whirlwind Family Farm, we have customers who love radishes almost year round. They don't do well in the heat of the summer, but they do well in the spring and they do well in the fall. So what I do for succession planting for them is I always keep a 50 or 100 cell trays of radishes planted all the time. So the moment a group goes in the ground, another group gets planted, and that simply is a succession. But you can do it with many things. And what that does is it allows you to be able to have a crop in the ground and a harvest going almost seasonally year round. And that's how your family, that's how you can have food that is on a continual basis in your backyard, is with succession planting. Sounds really simple, and it is simple. It's just keeping the system loaded, keeping the system with something new. When that season ends, and you'll get the hang of it after a couple of seasons, you're going, okay, my squash did well up to about mid-July, and for whatever reason, the bugs, we've now reached the end of the life cycle of some of these plants. Well, before they reach the end of their life cycle, start planting the new ones, start planting the next thing that's going to take their place. And really, that's it. That is succession planting. And depending on where you're at in the United States, I always use the example of the Southeast. My goodness, there's so many things that you could be harvesting all the way until Christmas time. We did this year. If you're in the further northern climates where it's cold, I'll bet there's many things that you can harvest into October, November. I know we even had many of our peppers until late November. So those seasons are not that different. Now, once you get those hard freezes and you start to get snow, that's the end of the season for so many things. But again, you can make the best of every bit of that season when you don't have frost, even in those outside settings. We use season extenders with high tunnels, but many things we grow outdoors and they do quite well, and you can do the same. So thanks again. We appreciate you so much for checking us out here at Whirlwind Family Farm. Each week we may have a couple of videos. We have our shorts videos as well that take you further along in that learning process and really the simplicity of gardening. And again, we'll always have a couple of videos on screen. We'll have Garden Essentials, which typically I think is on this side. Just click on that. We'll have another video here that is educational, takes you further along. Check those out. We have many, many you can check on. Thanks again. Blessings over you, your family, and your garden. Talk to you soon from Whirlwind Family Farm.